I'm actually getting out for my first semi-real scouting opportunity. I've been doing a lot of road scouting, just looking at different things, but today is the first time. Again, I'm now living in North Georgia. I've got expansive national forest lands. I've got WMA lands all around. I've got to learn. I've been marking stuff on Onyx Hunt. I've been pinning stuff all over saddles and ridges and terrain features that I like, but ultimately, and as you know, boots on the ground. That's how you scout, boots on the ground. And if there's one little tip I would give right away, this is not a how-to scouting video per se, but it's how I scout early season. One of the first things I like to do is if I can go after a fresh rain, because there's nothing more telltale than fresh tracks, in my opinion. I'm looking at historic stuff. I'm looking at historic rub lines. I'm looking at probably historic terrain features that would lead to bedding, and looking at the oaks and all those things. But man, fresh tracks and fresh sign is speaking to me the most. And so after a decent rain, you just have a better chance. Come along with me as I do this early season North Georgia mountain hardcore lands, public lands, but good deer here. I know there are, and I'm gonna hit the trail scouting a little bit. Come along with me. We'll have a good afternoon. Hey, so right here by the truck, I don't mind seeing this right here. This is a brand new muscadine that just probably got blown out during the storm, just right here on the road. And that's one of those things. If I find, because we had a pretty good storm here the other day, if I find some green muscadines on the ground, immediately that's a early season thought for me is muscadines in this region. I'm looking for all kinds. Yeah, man, they're everywhere on the ground here, so that's really cool. This is a very substantial vine. So here we go, heading on into the first waypoint I've got. Brand new land, brand new scouting. Here we go. Dude, I take 10 steps in the woods and I already see stuff I like. I look up and I got a big old bodied deer blowing at me. Big deer. I didn't see the head. I don't know what it is. Bright red, beautiful summer coat. Right here, man. And it's going right up to that waypoint. Golly, what an awesome, awesome thing. That doesn't get any better than that. This is crazy. I've had numerous deer blowing. I am so excited by the amount of sign I'm seeing right now. Multiple deer up here on this ridge top. I'm not sure how well the camera. Every time I even speak a word, they're right there. I'm all over deer. And I am not on the same deer because I've got them blowing in different places. I'm busting this whole area up, but at the same time, I haven't even covered any ground. But what I was going to say was, I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up or not, but I have no idea if the camera's going to get this, but these are all beds. There's a bed here, and there's a big bed here, and then there's another one over there, but let's assume I would hunt this. If you notice, basically it's just a steep, not steep, but it's a pretty tall ridge. Gradually comes up on every single side. They've got trails going up and down it, and then they've got trails coming across. Where I first came up from the truck was one of the only spots I've seen where it looked like a downward and a horizontal, a vertical horizontal intersection of trail, and there was food involved there. And it's hard to know, when I come in here for an evening sit, I'd like to be lower if they're but if they're bedded low, I'm in trouble. I'm not gonna be able to hunt above them on this mountaintop because the thermals are just gonna crash on them. But if they are bedded up high, which I think they were just now, and I think they will be again because it's thicker up there, if I can be below them, get a good sit in the evening as they come down to feed, that's my ticket. But anyway, I'm gonna move on out of here. All right, you guys, this is why you gotta keep your eyes open as you're scouting, because on my way out I thought I'd take a little cut, and I'm coming to, and it's gonna be so hard to see, but way over there it falls way off into a bowl. Way over here behind me it falls way off to a bowl. That's the mountain back up there where the deer were kind of at. I came up from over there, so I came up here, and then the deer were blowing and they ran off that way. Coming down here, I'm starting to see more of a developed trail here. Well, now I'm about to get to a place right there. You can't hardly see it, I know, where it literally falls off on both sides to a very narrow pinch. That's what I'm looking for. That is a wonderful pinch point. Even though I had deer blowing up there, and even though I saw a little bit of food, this pinch point is going to be where they do travel at some point, I guarantee it. Remember I was talking about the rain? Not giant, but as fresh can be. Super encouraging. And a decent trail going through here. So I'm just working my way back to the truck, still finding sign. Anyway, I'm actually coming across a fire break right now, which is outstanding travel for deer. These fire breaks I love. So that's just another thing to appreciate about this spot I just found, having this fire break. I didn't even notice it earlier. So I've got the recipe for an archery kill right here, y'all. I got thick woods, trails, fire breaks, food. Oh yeah, and physical deer blowing at me like crazy. So it's looking pretty good right here. We will keep on scouting as the summer goes on, and hopefully get some really sweet content. Hopefully get some road driving with camera, picking up some deer crossing the road and stuff. Love that. And we'll see how it goes. But y'all take care. Hope you enjoyed this. It's not much, but it's what I'm doing so far, and it seems to be working out so far. So it's been just 2 or 3 days since the last little bit I did. And I tell you what, last evening, me and my youngster, we went out for a drive and took a drive on some of these roads right before dark, and we were looking for trail crossings, looking up the banks, seeing if any of the banks were worn out, and it had just rained. We were looking for fresh tracks, but man, we saw some deer. We saw some deer. The youngster was so excited. Deer run across the road in a spot. As we were going down, I kind of stopped. I looked over. I put a little mark on my Onyx, and on the way back, we saw deer right in that vicinity. So that's pretty sweet. I've got tons of places on this long stretch of road I'm driving right now. I got public land on both sides of me right now, and I've got so many places marked, and this is all new. I've just got to get out there. I got to get boots on the ground. I'm looking for that early season food source, that early season water source. As I get out into these woods, I hope I can get the camera on some things that I'm looking for. Obviously looking for physical deer, that's a huge sign, and trail crossings, that's great. But definitely looking for these early food sources. This is expansive national forest. This is not planted fields and soybeans and corn and food plots. This is just the wilderness. This is browse and acorns and muscadines and persimmons and black locusts and all these kinds of things. But anyhow, getting out here, we're going to try to get the camera set up, maybe glass some of these open areas where there's been some burn, some controlled burn. Love that. A lot of that undergrowth is beautiful green browse that these deer will use. So hey, we're just going to get out here and do a little summertime scouting, try to see where we want to set up. I'm driving down this road and I'm admiring how on one side it's just thick, nasty. On the other side, it's where they did controlled burning. That right there is a testimony of controlled burning. That deer is eating green browse that's just fresh and from the regeneration of the forest floor. Just all that from that controlled burning. You look at that, and then look at that. And I wouldn't mind seeing a doe that big on opening day with archery, I tell you that right now. I just wonder if I could sit right here and watch different deer come across this ridge. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and that just squashes any idea that it has to be the last few minutes before sunset, or the last few minutes, or the first few minutes of daylight. Those are wonderful times to hunt, but when the deer need to move, the deer are going to move. After I finish my journey for the day, I'm going to make sure I come out this way, and I'm going to park, and I'm going to walk over there, and I'm going to see, just to make sure she was just feeding on browse, make sure there's not some kind of source of food that I'm not aware of, but most likely it's that browse. So cool. All right, we're going to proceed on. I still haven't got out of the truck yet. Actually, there was a truck parked in a little pull-off right close to one of my markers on X. There's a lot of hiking around here and stuff too, but I mean, it was a truck. I mean, you know, it could have been someone scouting or someone hiking, I don't know. So I'm trying to pull up a little further and see if I want to tackle that same location that I had marked on X. If I want to go a little further and then come at it from the backside, but I don't want to, you know, get too close to anybody else who may be scouting. It's just kind of ironic of all the places I put a marker on. Someone was parked right there near the access. So, but hey, this is scouting right here. Saw this big mature doe. I might make a lot of decisions based off that sighting right there. So it's pretty cool. All right. Just look at this view. Wow. Man, it's amazing out here. Overwhelming once you get down in here in it, like I told you. I'm standing on a tree right now, but right here, I'm in the middle of that controlled burn stuff. Most of it's as tall as me, and look behind me. All that's taller than me once I start going up through it. So I saw one decent looking trail kind of, you know, cutting across laterally across this knoll. It gets extremely steep there, so it's a trail that undercuts that steepness. It doesn't look like a super heavily traveled trail though, so I haven't quite found what I'm looking for yet. But I sure have found a good view. Oh man, it's amazing. What's really cool about here in the mountains, being in North Georgia, like back home where they do controlled burns, you know, briars and saplings and things like that. And there are some briars here that have popped up, but it's mostly sourwood. And as a beekeeper, I've been all crazy about learning about sourwood trees. And I guess apparently one of the things they do is they are one of the first things to sprout up in a burn, after a burn or after a clear cut. And they sprout up like crazy. And sure enough, there's a lot of sourwood right here where a controlled burn was. So it's just kind of something interesting to keep in mind. So I'm going to keep on pressing forward and see what we can find. Alright, y'all, well, I came back around. Let me put this camera down. I came back around this knoll as I planned, back to about where I saw that big doe feeding. I just wanted to show you. You know, you see a lot of this stuff is where, you know, the burn took place and things like that. But look at this right down here. Look at that. Fresh. I mean, look at that. It's unreal. I guess missed that one, but fresh browse. The controlled burn method gives them plenty of browse, plenty of greenery, and it's so healthy for the forest. So now what I've done is I've come back to the truck, and I'm gonna go to the other side of the road. In fact, as I worked my way back to the truck, I jumped a deer. Could have been that same doe, I don't know. But anyways, that deer eased right on up into this thick, nasty woods. And so, you know, I do have to respect the fact that I'm most likely going to be hunting some thick, tight woods, especially during bow season. As good as it was to see her out feeding in the open, realistically, where is my vantage point going to be? Where is my help going to come? And it's going to be from those thick woods and then play in the wind, of course. So anyway, I'm going to head up some more scouting in these thick woods. Hopefully I can show y'all something. I hope it's been enjoyable so far for you, and I'm just looking for where these deer are going to be. So stay tuned. And all that, but yeah, it's always good when you see one like this. He bent that thing over. He snapped it clean off last year. It's funny. Bent that one all up. I'm basically on a ridge top rub line. Obviously, these ridge tops, especially in the mountains, are going to get hunted the hardest probably in the low valleys. This one is a little sneaky though. Doesn't really look like much near the road, and so this one may get overlooked. What I want to find, so this is a long ridge. It goes a long way that way, and it goes a long way that way, and it falls off real steep on both sides. If I could find a crosser, that'd be great, because the whole ridge itself is just a natural trail. So if I could find a crossing trail on that ridge, that'd be an immediate consideration for putting up a stand or taking a saddle into. So just something to keep in mind. But it is always cool to see a tree bent over and snapped in half from last year. So we'll keep on moving. I found something that I really like. The screen's not going to give it justice, but this is the ridge top I was walking on. It goes down and falls off into a valley down there, and it was real thick up there. Well, on the back side, there's a little trail right here. Well, and that's great, but then I came across and I found a saddle. Okay, this saddle right here is probably 15 yards wide, and it's a nice one from where I'm standing on up. These are those pinch points. This is what I'm looking for. As far as archery, I don't know. If there's food in play and it's a natural travel corridor, yes. Come the rut, come buck hunting time, that is a real pinch point in between these mountains. Super excited I just found this. We're gonna go down and explore it. Alright, y'all, well, I made it back to the truck. I put a lot of boots on the ground today. You know, seeing deer from the truck, that's always fun. Got to get a little filming of that big doe. Found a lot of sign. I'm still finding it hard not to scout. You know, I need to be scouting these early season food sources and water sources, and I just get into my mode, man. I find those saddles and those ridge tops and those trails and historic rubs, and I am keeping all that back here in my mind for sure. But I did find, I found a lot of muscadine where that'll be a nice early food source. But really, I think honestly, with all the controlled burning that's happened, I think just green browse is their primary, which is probably their primary this time of the year anyway. I'm no expert, that's for sure, but there's just more there, and it's nutritious, good stuff, and there's a lot of it out here. So really where I'm sitting at on the road, on one side I've got this browse and this burn, and then on the other side I got all these thick woods. Somewhere in those thick woods is really a good staging transition area. I might be hunting right by the road, and during bow season I've done that many times, and so I'm just looking for those staging areas between food and cover. But found a lot of good sign, saw physical deer, that was good. And so on my way out, I'm gonna have my camera handy just in case, see if I can't film something else. But needless to say, it's been a good day. It's been a safe day. Pretty cool. It's only showing 74. It's very humid, but I'm in some high elevation right now, so 74 is nice and no complaints. So looking forward to September, really am. So we'll finish this drive on out of here. Maybe we'll get some more footage of some deer, but if not, it's been a good run, been a good day, so we'll keep on trucking along.